Welcome to Ancient Mythology for Sleep, the channel that helps you drift into peaceful rest each night. Tonight's story: Life as Poseidon's seakeeper in the depths of the ancient ocean for sleep. Narrated by Shelby. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let the ancient world carry you. The world awakens in darkness, and you awaken with it. Your eyes open to the soft luminescence of bioluminescent creatures, tiny stars held captive in this eternal night of the deep. They drift past your stone chamber in the palace of Poseidon, their gentle glow painting shadows across walls carved from coral and ancient rock. The light is pale, almost ghostly, a reminder that where you dwell, no sun has ever touched. No sun will ever touch here. You rise slowly from the bed of woven kelp and softest sea silk, and your feet meet the cool floor. The stone is slick beneath your soles, worn smooth by centuries of other feet, keepers before you, guardians of these depths who came and passed, their names now lost to the endless tides above. The dampness here is not uncomfortable. It is home. It is life itself. The air carries the scent of salt and minerals, of ancient stone, and things that have lived longer than mountains, and beneath it all, something sacred. The unmistakable presence of divine power that permeates every chamber of this palace. Light filters through in strange ways in this realm. Not the harsh, direct light of the surface world, but something diffuse and mysterious. Through the high archways carved into your chamber's walls, you can see the vast expanse of the open ocean beyond, darker than the chamber, yet somehow glowing with its own subtle energy. Schools of fish move through those waters in synchronized waves, their scales catching what little light exists and sending it dancing across the walls in silver traces. They move as one organism, responding to currents only they can sense, guided by instincts older than language. You walk to the archway and pause there, letting your senses expand into the vastness. The pressure of the water outside is immense, something most creatures could not withstand. But you have been chosen for this role, marked by Poseidon himself. And your body has been made to endure, to thrive, to serve. The pressure feels like an embrace, like the god's attention itself, pressing gently against your skin, reminding you always of his presence. And as you listen, let the weight of these ancient waters settle over you, soft and boundless, carrying you deeper into rest. The water moves in gentle undulations, though no wind exists here. The currents flow in patterns too vast and slow for one breath, one moment to fully comprehend. These are the breath of the world itself, the arterial flow of the divine ocean that Poseidon rules with his trident. To tend these waters, to maintain them, to witness them, this is your sacred calling. You turn from the archway and make your way deeper into the palace, along corridors that curve like the inside of a nautilus shell. The walls shimmer with traces of pearl and mother of pearl, embedded by ancient craftsmen who worked at Poseidon's command. There is no hurry in your movements. Time flows differently here. A day in the depths is not measured in hours, as surface dwellers understand them, but in the rhythms of the tides, in the migrations of great creatures, in the subtle shifts of pressure and temperature that mark the passage of what the world above might call time. The air grows warmer as you move, and you know you approach the chamber of the grotto, the heart of the palace where the divine fire burns. This warmth is not sharp or sudden. but slow and enveloping, like the gentle pressure of a heavy blanket settling across your shoulders after a long and weary journey. It seeps into your chest, into the spaces between your ribs, softening everything it touches. And with each step forward, you feel it reaching deeper into your bones, dissolving the last traces of cold that the stone corridors left behind. This flame was kindled by Poseidon's own hand, and it burns not with ordinary flame, but with something that seems to combine water and fire in impossible harmony. It does not consume fuel. It does not produce smoke. It simply exists in its eternal burning, a source of warmth and life sustenance for all who dwell in these depths. You enter the chamber, and immediately the warmth envelops you. The grotto rises high above, a cathedral of stone and water and light. The divine flame sits at its center, suspended in a sphere of pure crystal that was shaped, according to legend, from a single teardrop of the goddess Tethys herself. The light from this flame is unlike any other light in the world. It carries warmth, yes, but also a peculiar clarity that seems to illuminate not just what is before the eyes, but what lies in the depths of the mind. The keepers who tend the flame are already moving about their tasks. There are 3 of them, ancient ones, who have served far longer than you. Their skin has taken on the qualities of the deep, pale as the underside of creatures that have never known sun, with a faint translucence that allows you to see the fine network of veins beneath. Their eyes are large and luminous, adapted over years of service to catch every nuance of light in this dim realm. They move with the fluid grace of beings who have forgotten, if they ever knew, what it means to walk on land. You feel yourself becoming heavier, your breath falling into rhythm with the slow and patient movements of those ancient keepers, each exhale carrying you further into stillness. Narrated, the eldest, notices your arrival. She is arranging bundles of crystallized salt in careful patterns around the base of the flame sphere. The salt comes from the deepest thermal vents, where water, hotter than the sun's surface, rises up from the earth's heart. These salts hold within them the minerals and essences of the world's deep interior, and when burned in the proper way, they feed the divine flame, keeping it sustained. The morning is here, Meriden says, her voice like water flowing over smooth stone. She does not look up from her work, but her words carry acknowledgement, recognition. The tide turns above. Can you feel it? You can. Even in this sealed chamber, even so far from the surface that the journey up would take hours of swimming through increasingly cold and light-filled waters. You can sense the great tidal pulse of the world. It is like feeling the heartbeat of something impossibly vast, a rhythm that your own body has learned to synchronize with over the months of your service. The dolphin pods are gathering near the shelf of calling, Meriden continues, finally turning to look at you. They carry messages from the surface currents. The storms came again during the night watch. Ships were lost, 3 of them. You nod slowly, absorbing this information. The knowledge comes with a weight to it, but not sorrow, not exactly. These things are part of the great cycle. Surface dwellers sail upon waters that Poseidon rules, and sometimes they are claimed by those waters. It is the natural order, the eternal tension between mortal ambition and divine power. The other keepers, Lysa and Petron, continue their work without interrupting. Lysa is tending to a series of channels cut into the floor of the chamber, through which the specially prepared water flows in precise patterns. This water, too, comes from the thermal vents, and it carries concentrated essences of the deep that feed and stabilize the flame. The work is meticulous, requiring attention to detail that borders on meditative. Lysa moves with the precision of someone who has performed the same tasks thousands upon thousands of times. Petron, meanwhile, is recording the night's observations on tablets of pressed seaweed. His fingers move with steady precision across the surface, marking symbols that only the keepers understand. These records stretch back centuries, creating a vast archive of knowledge about the moods and movements of the ocean itself. They chart the patterns of currents, the migrations of creatures, the subtle alterations in temperature and pressure that might escape the notice of any observer less devoted than these ancient servants. Let your mind drift into the quiet ceremony of this place, where every motion is deliberate, every breath unhurried, and the ancient palace holds you gently in its depths. You move to take your place among them, and the work begins. Your first task is to distribute the morning nourishment. Here in the palace, food is not taken as it is on the surface world, hastily and without intention. Instead, there is a ritual to it. You move to the preparation chamber, a space that opens onto gardens of kelp and other ocean vegetation tended by the keepers with patient care. The plants here grow slowly, fed by nutrients that rise from the vents, and by the careful attention of those who understand that in this realm, as in all sacred spaces, life must be tended. You select what is needed, portions of the tender new growth, harvested with rituals of gratitude. There are also preserved provisions from deeper regions, dried sea fruits that contain concentrated nutrients, pearls of preserved fish oil that carries the essence of abundance. Each item is selected for its place in maintaining the balance of the keepers' bodies and minds. As you prepare the morning meal, you become aware of a subtle shift in the chamber's atmosphere. The divine flame flares slightly, and you know without being told that Poseidon's attention has turned toward the palace. It is not his full presence. That would be overwhelming, even for those chosen and prepared, but rather a focused awareness, a divine gaze that sweeps through the halls like an invisible current. Meriden straightens, and you see her eyes brighten with something between reverence and careful awareness. He has taken notice, she says quietly. Someone in the upper world has called to him with sufficient desperation. You understand, there are those on the surface who know the old prayers, the old ways, when their need is great enough, when they call to the god with genuine faith and proper ritual. Poseidon sometimes chooses to answer. The echo of that interaction ripples down through all the waters, reaching even to his palace in the depths. The warmth surrounds you, steady and eternal as the divine flame itself. And there is nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to carry, only this ancient, golden stillness. The morning progresses in quiet dedication. You and the other keepers move through the established rhythms, tending the flame, maintaining the channels, recording observations, caring for the sacred spaces. The divine fire continues to burn with its impossible purity, and through its light, you feel connected to something vast and eternal. By the time what might be called midday arrives, marked not by the position of a sun you cannot see, but by subtle shifts in the water's pressure and temperature, and by the inner clock that all creatures carry. The palace is alive with a different quality of activity. The great water halls fill with movement. These are the main thoroughfares through which currents flow, through which messages travel, through which the ocean's countless inhabitants move in their appointed ways. Today, the movement is more concentrated, more purposeful. Large creatures emerge from the depths, raised with wingspans as wide as a small house, their bodies gliding with mesmerizing grace. Deeper still come the great fish, ancient things that have lived for generations, their scales marked with scars that speak of encounters with the very edges of the world. You are called to the chamber of consultation, a vast hall where the palace's deepest business is conducted. Here, the keepers gather with other servants of Poseidon, the dolphin speakers, the current readers, the interpreters of the great whale songs that echo through the oceans, in patterns too complex and vast for surface-dweller minds to comprehend. Narrated guides you through corridors that grow progressively wider and more elaborate. The walls here are decorated with intricate carvings depicting the battles of Poseidon, the creation of islands, the founding of great cities that rose and fell according to his will. Each carving is a story, and even the most ancient of the keepers sometimes pauses to trace a particular figure with reverent fingers, remembering again why they have chosen this life of service. There is nothing to do now but rest, and let these carved walls and ancient stories carry your thoughts gently forward, like a slow current bearing a leaf across still water. The chamber of consultation rises before you, and it is vast beyond what the exterior of the palace suggested. The space seems to exist in a different dimension entirely, as though the architect who designed it understood secrets of sacred space that have long been forgotten by the surface world. The ceiling arches so high that it fades into darkness, lit only by the presence of countless bioluminescent creatures that have been trained, or perhaps simply persuaded through some divine means, to gather there and provide illumination. At the center of the chamber, upon a throne carved from a single piece of deep black stone, sits the avatar of Poseidon. This is not the god himself. Even the chosen keepers do not have the capacity to withstand the full presence of a divine being. But this avatar, a creature that bears the god's authority and something of his essence, is overwhelming nonetheless. It is shaped vaguely like a man, but only barely. Its body seems to shift and flow like water that has been given temporary solidity. Its eyes are vast and dark as the deepest trenches. When it breathes, the movement creates currents that flow through the entire chamber. The keepers bow without ceremony or pretense. This is not ritual performed for show, but genuine acknowledgement of something infinitely beyond themselves. You bow as well, feeling the weight of the avatar's attention. Touch your mind like the brush of some great, gentle tentacle. The storms bring changes, the avatar speaks, and its voice is like the sound of the ocean itself, given language. The vessels on the surface grow bolder. They cut through waters they do not understand. They take from the depths without gratitude. Meriden steps forward slightly. The keepers maintain the boundaries, Lord. The sacred places remain guarded. For now, the avatar responds. There is no anger in its voice, only a vast, ancient patience. But change comes to all things, even to the eternal waters. You must prepare. The currents are shifting. Something stirs in the far depths, something that hasn't moved in an age of the world. A silence falls over the chamber, and even the bioluminescent creatures seem to still their glowing movements. You feel, though you do not understand, that this is significant. Something ancient and fundamental is altering. The palace of Poseidon, which has seemed the most eternal and unchanging of all places, is about to become something other than it has been. And as you listen, feel that silence settle over you too, vast and soft and without edges, the way sleep settles, arriving not all at once but in layers, each one quieter than the last. The avatar settles back into its throne, and the intensity of its presence diminishes slightly. Continue your duties, it commands. Attend to the flame. Read the currents. Listen to the songs of the great ones. All knowledge will be needed in the times to come. As the gathering disperses, you find yourself walking beside Patron, the recorder of observations. His face is thoughtful, and there is something in his expression that suggests this pronouncement has confirmed fears or suspicions he has been harboring. The deep waters stir, he says quietly, not quite speaking to you, but allowing you to overhear. I have been reading the patterns for longer than I have been a keeper. Something vast has been sleeping in the absolute depths, in places that even Poseidon's attention does not easily reach. The currents have been subtly changing around it. Soon, it will wake. What is it? You ask. Though you are not entirely sure, you want to know the answer. Patron does not respond immediately. Instead, he leads you back through the corridors, past the chamber of the grotto, to a smaller room that you have not entered before. It is lined with tablets, hundreds of them, perhaps thousands, each one bearing careful notations in the ancient script of the keepers. These, Patron says, gesturing to the collection, are the records of the watchers who served before us and before them. The oldest ones date back to times when the world was still being shaped by the gods themselves. He selects one tablet from near the very bottom of a stack, a thing so ancient that it seems barely to hold together. There are mentions, he continues, of something called the Leviathan of the first deep, an entity so old that even Poseidon did not create it. Instead, it was here when the god arrived to claim dominion over the waters. A pact was made, a binding of forces. The creature agreed to sleep in the deepest places, far from the haunts of mortals and gods alike. In exchange, it was given dominion over certain sacred spaces, certain currents that run through dimensions that we cannot perceive. The weight of ages seems to settle around you, and you understand then that your service here, which you have seen as peaceful and eternal, is something far more complex. You are not simply a tender of a divine flame in a static eternity. You are a sentinel, watching and waiting for something vast and terrible to remember that it exists. The midday light, that subtle pressure shift in temperature change that marks the height of the day in the depths, seems to deepen around you. The palace continues its work. The keepers continue their rituals. And the divine flame continues to burn in its eternal purity. But now you know that beneath the surface of this ancient, sacred peace, the great currents of change are beginning to flow. Your service you realize is about to become far more important than you had ever imagined. The afternoon sun has climbed past its peak, and the golden light begins its slow descent toward the western horizon. The urgency of the morning's work has settled into something gentler, something more contemplative. You feel the subtle shift in the quality of the light as it filters down through the water, becoming warmer, more amber than the harsh white of noon. Your duties have grown quieter now. The great currents that needed tending this morning have been established, their rhythms set for the rest of the day. Instead, you find yourself moving through the deeper chambers of the palace, where the water moves more slowly, where ancient stones, worn smooth by millennia, seem to hum with a quiet contentment. The pearl-lined corridors feel almost dreamlike in this softer light. You pause at one of the observation chambers, a vast opening in the palace wall that looks out toward the continental shelf. From here, the light still reaches down in long, luminous beams, illuminating the dance of smaller creatures. Schools of silver fish moving in perfect synchronization, their bodies catching the light like living coins. A giant ray glides past with impossible grace, its wings undulating gently, as if conducting a slow symphony. You watch without moving, your breath steady and measured in this timeless place. There is a garden here, one of many tended by the sea keepers before you. Not a garden of plants, as the surface dwellers would know them, but a careful cultivation of coral, of swaying seagrasses, of small creatures that have learned to live in harmony with one another. It requires no urgent attention today. You simply observe the slow unfurling of a bioluminescent flower, taking hours to fully bloom, and allow yourself to simply be present with it. And as you listen, the palace breathes around you in the softest way, and there is nothing here that asks anything of you. As the afternoon deepens, you make your way toward the central atrium of the palace. The walls here are made of something between stone and pearl, almost translucent in places, and the light that passes through them has taken on a distinctly golden quality. Everything slows here. The movement of the water is barely perceptible. Even sound seems to travel differently. Your own movements creating soft, cushioned echoes that dissipate almost immediately. You attend to small tasks, adjusting the flow through one of the ventilation channels, checking on a colony of creatures that maintains the palace's living systems, placing smooth stones in particular patterns along the floor, a practice so ancient that you don't fully remember its original purpose, only that it feels right, necessary in a way that transcends logic. The repetition of these simple motions is meditative. Your hands move with the certainty of ritual, the certainty of duty performed with love rather than obligation. Time feels different here in the depths, without the sun's arc to mark the hours, without the rhythm of day and night that governs the world above. Time becomes something more fluid. Hours pass like minutes. The afternoon could last forever, or could be merely moments. It matters very little. What matters is the quality of presence, the attention you bring to each small task. As the light continues its gradual transformation, becoming less golden and beginning to deepen toward amber and rose, you make your way to the upper chambers of the palace. Here, windows that look toward the distant surface allow you to track the passage of the day in the world above. The sun has begun its descent now, painting the water above in increasingly warm hues. The evening is beginning, You feel yourself becoming heavier, your movements growing slower and more deliberate, as though the water itself has lovingly taken some of the weight of the day from you. You emerge into the great hall, where already the servants have begun their evening preparations. Bioluminescent creatures are carefully coaxed into position along the walls and ceiling. Not forced, but gently encouraged, their natural light beginning to shine more brightly as the external light dims. These ancient ones have worked here for generations, their light attuned to the rhythms of the palace, and they know, without being told, when to brighten their glow. The hall takes on a new character in this light. The walls, which seemed golden in the afternoon, now appear almost bronze. And where the bioluminescence touches them, they seem to contain inner depths. The effect is of standing inside a vast lantern, or perhaps within the heart of a great jewel. There is warmth here, but not the aggressive warmth of the sun. This warmth settles against your skin like the memory of something loved. It seeps gently inward, reaching past thought and weariness, filling the quiet spaces between your bones with a soft and steady ease. You move through the corridors, and fires are being lit in the great braziers. Not fires of flame, as the surface dwellers know them, but something older, something that burns beneath water and never extinguishes. The servants work with quiet efficiency, their movements economical and peaceful. There is no haste. The evening is a time for settling, for the world to find its resting pace before the true night arrives. In the library, a vast chamber filled with records inscribed on surfaces that water cannot touch, knowledge accumulated over ages. You sit for a time. The light here is soft, coming from carefully arranged luminescent sources that cast no harsh shadows. You run your hands across tablets that record the tides of centuries, the patterns of the great currents, the histories of creatures that no longer exist in the waters above. They feel warm beneath your fingers, as if they are alive, as if the knowledge they contain still pulses with the energy of those who inscribed it. The warmth surrounds you, rising up through the ancient stone beneath you, drifting through the water that moves softly around you, held in the amber glow of this room that has cradled so much knowing for so very long. The evening deepens. Around you, the palace settles into its night rhythm. The waters grow quieter. The great pumps that circulate water through the palace's chambers seem to slow their rhythm slightly, though they never truly cease. Even rest, even sleep, must be maintained here. The ocean does not stop its work, and neither do those who serve it. You find yourself in your own chamber now, a simple space carved from living stone, with walls that seem to breathe gently with the passage of water. A shell, ancient and spiraled, rests on a shelf, a piece of something precious from the surface, brought down long ago, a reminder of the world that exists above this one. You touch it gently as you pass. The night has come. The palace is now lit almost entirely by the natural bioluminescence of its inhabitants. The effect is utterly enchanting, as if you are living within a constellation, as if the stars have somehow found their way into the depths. The light is soft and blue-green, occasionally touched with the warmer amber gold of other creatures. It illuminates everything without casting sharp shadows. A kind of illumination that seems to come from within the objects themselves, rather than from any external source. The sound of the palace at night is the sound of water. But not just any water. It is the sound of water that knows itself, that moves with intention and care. The gentle rush of currents through channels, the soft percussion of larger creatures moving through distant passages, the almost inaudible vibration of the palace itself, as if this vast structure is somehow alive, somehow breathing with the breath of the ocean itself. Let your mind drift out through the pale blue light of these ancient corridors, out through the walls of living stone, into the vast and patient darkness that holds this palace like a cupped hand. You have found your way to one of the outer balconies, a place that opens directly to the deeper ocean. Here, the palace's light fades quickly into the profound darkness that exists beyond. But your eyes, adjusted now to this gentle glow, begin to perceive things within that darkness. Far above, so impossibly distant that they seem almost mythical, are the faintest hints of starlight. Not visible in the direct sense, but perceptible somehow, as if their light, having traveled down through the water all the way from the surface, still carries some faint echo of celestial truth. You stand at the railing and simply breathe. The water that passes across your skin carries the scent of ancient things, salt, stone, the indescribable perfume of depths that have never known the sun's direct touch. It is cool but not cold, familiar in a way that suggests you have been breathing this water your entire life, that it knows you as you know it. Around you, the creatures of the deep night make their slow journeys. A creature that is part fish, part phantom, glows with its own internal light as it drifts past. A greeting, perhaps, or simply the acknowledgement of shared space in this vast darkness. You do not speak to it, but you feel the connection, the understanding that passes between beings who share this world. Time has become irrelevant now. The night could be an hour old, or could be ancient beyond measure. The stars above, those distant, impossible stars, continue their eternal rotation, but their movement is imperceptible from this place. They are still, they are eternal, and their stillness is reflected in the stillness that pervades everything around you. There is nothing to do now but rest, to let the turning of those ancient stars carry the weight of time so that you do not have to. The water laps gently against the stone of the balcony. It is not a sound, exactly, but rather a texture of sound, something that you feel as much as hear. It is the oldest sound in the world, the sound that was present before sound itself was invented, the sound that will continue long after all other sounds have faded into silence. You become aware of your breath, the gentle movement of air through your lungs, the expansion and contraction of your chest. It synchronizes with the movement of the water around you, becomes part of the larger rhythm that governs this place. In, out, just as the tides rise and fall, just as the currents flow through the palace, just as the stars above complete their endless turning through the night sky. The palace behind you is quiet now. The servants have completed their evening work and have retired to their own chambers. The great halls are lit only by their natural luminescence, casting everything in that soft blue-green light that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. It is a light that holds no harshness, no judgment, merely a gentle illumination that allows existence to continue without disruption. You rest your hands on the railing and feel the ancient stone beneath your palms. It is warm, warmed by the passage of water and time. Holding that warmth the way a living thing holds warmth, steady and generous, and completely without condition. This stone has stood here for longer than memory, longer than history, longer than the first civilizations of the surface world. It will stand here long after all current things have passed into dust and forgetting. And for now, for this night, you are simply part of it, part of the stone, part of the water, part of the vast and eternal machinery of the ocean. And as you listen, the distant sounds of the deep continue their quiet symphony, a rumble, barely perceptible, from somewhere far below. Perhaps a great creature moving through the abyss, perhaps the groaning of the earth itself as it slowly shifts in its sleep. The gentle rush of water through unseen passages, the almost musical note of currents flowing around distant spires of rock. All of it combines into a kind of silence, a silence so complete that it contains everything, a silence that is full rather than empty. You close your eyes, though the light, or lack thereof, hardly changes. Inside and outside have become nearly the same thing. The darkness behind your eyes is barely different from the soft glow of the palace around you. They merge into a single state of being, a single awareness that encompasses both the vast depths outside the palace and the gentle interior spaces of your home. The night deepens. Your breathing continues its slow, steady rhythm. In and out, in and out, just as it has been for countless nights before this one, just as it will continue for countless nights to come. The breath of the seakeeper synchronized with the breath of the ocean itself. They are no longer separate things. They are one rhythm, one eternal movement that has no beginning and no end, that exists outside of time, even as time continues its slow passage all around. The stars above, those distant, ancient stars, continue their turning through the night sky. They cast no direct light into these depths, and yet their presence is felt, known, understood in some way that transcends the limitations of vision. They are there, eternal and unchanging. The same stars that watched over the ocean for all the ages of the world. The same stars that will continue their watch long after everything that lives beneath the waves has returned to the basic elements from which it emerged. You feel yourself becoming heavier, your thoughts loosening their hold one by one, drifting upward like slow bubbles through dark water, rising and dissolving before they can fully form. Your mind, that had been following the paths of duty and thought throughout the day, begins to slow. The distinction between the objects of your attention and the attention itself starts to blur. You are no longer observing the water, observing the light, observing the darkness. You are simply aware, present in this moment, in this place, without the overlay of narrative or memory or anticipation. The gentle sound of water moving through distant channels. The almost imperceptible glow of bioluminescent creatures going about their ancient, patient lives. The texture of ancient stone beneath your hands. The slow movement of your own breath, in and out, in and out. All of it merging together into a single, unified experience of peace and presence. This is the gift of the deep places, the gift that those who dwell here have always known. Here, in the ancient darkness, where time loses its meaning and the world's endless noise cannot reach, there is a kind of rest that the surface world cannot offer. Your eyes grow heavy. The light, that had seemed so vivid in the early evening, now appears distant and dreamlike, as if viewed through layers of water, or layers of sleep itself. Everything is softened, gentled by the fading boundaries between waking and dreams. That softness has weight to it, a tender and unhurried weight, the kind that asks nothing of you but that you let it settle where it will. The palace continues its eternal work. The currents continue their ancient patterns. The creatures of the deep continue their slow journeys through the darkness. And you, the sea keeper of these ancient depths, continue to rest, to breathe, to exist in this timeless moment where all things are at peace. This is the night of the ocean. This is the night that comes to all who dwell in the deep places, who have learned to surrender to the rhythm of the waters, who have made their home in this vast and ancient world. Here, at last, there is rest. Here, at last, there is peace. The night carries you onward, deeper still, into the gentle darkness where sleep waits with the patience of ages.